There is something that most people still get wrong about living a long life. People tend to think that making it to 90, or even past it, comes down to genetics, to luck, or simply to fate. If your grandparents lived long, maybe you will too. If they did not, well, that is just how it goes. But here is what science has actually shown us. Genetics only accounts for about 20 to 30% of how long you live. The remaining 70 to 80% comes from what you do every single day. How you eat, how you sleep, how you move, and even how you stay connected to the people around you. So what does that mean for you? It means that the majority of your lifespan is within your control, and that is true for you right now, whether you are 55, 60, or 70 years old. In this video, I am going to walk you through 10 habits consistently seen in people who live past 90 and still remain sharp, still move around on their own, and still genuinely enjoy their lives. These are not exotic or expensive things. Most of them are so simple that people overlook them without ever realizing what they are missing. And I want to be upfront about this from the start. A few of the habits on this list may actually surprise you, because they are not what you typically hear, especially habit number 4 and habit number 8. Those are two things I see a lot of people in their 60s doing completely backwards, without realizing the consequences. Let us get into it. Habit number 1. They move every day, but not necessarily at the gym. When most people hear exercise, they immediately picture a gym, long runs, or intense workouts. But the people who live past 90, especially in the communities researchers call blue zones, share a very different pattern. They move consistently throughout the day, not necessarily through high-intensity training. Walking to the mailbox, gardening, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, walking to the nearby grocery store. These small actions accumulate over time and make a real difference for the heart, the bones, and the muscles. A study published in JAMA Internal Medicine tracked more than 16,000 older women and found that those who walked around 4,400 steps a day had significantly lower mortality rates compared to those who only walked about 2,700 steps. You do not need to hit 10,000 steps, you just need to move more than you currently do. What matters more than anything is consistency. Walking 20 minutes a day for 10 years is worth far more than training hard for 3 months and then stopping. And if you feel like you have not been doing this, here is the good news: it is never too late to start. Habit number 2. They eat enough protein, and this is something many older adults are getting wrong. One of the most common reasons older adults gradually grow weaker, become prone to falling, and lose their ability to care for themselves is muscle loss, a condition known as sarcopenia. What makes this especially concerning is that the process begins quietly in your 40s and accelerates after 60. To maintain muscle, the body needs protein, but many people in their 60s actually eat less protein than they did when they were younger, because they believe eating lighter is better for their health. In reality, the opposite is true. At this stage of life, your body needs more protein, not less. Nutrition specialists generally recommend that older adults consume at least 0.6 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight each day. That can come from fish, eggs, chicken, beans, or low-fat dairy products. The key is having a source of protein in each main meal, not just once a day. And when you combine adequate protein with regular movement, as I just described, the protective effect on your muscles becomes significantly stronger. This is a combination that long-lived people naturally practice as part of their everyday lives. Habit number 3. They go to bed on a consistent schedule and treat sleep like medicine. A lot of people, as they get older, come to accept sleeping less as something normal, even something to be proud of. But this is one of the most dangerous misconceptions about health in older adults. While you sleep, the brain goes through a process of clearing out waste that has built up during the day, including proteins associated with Alzheimer's disease. The heart gets a period of rest and lower pressure. The immune system produces its protective cells. All of this only happens when you sleep enough and sleep well. People who live past 90 tend to have very consistent sleep habits. They go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, including weekends. The ideal bedroom temperature is around 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. And the majority of them do not use phones or watch television within about an hour before bed. If you are struggling with sleep, that does not mean your body no longer needs it. It means something is interfering with your sleep, and that is something to address, not accept. Habit number 4. They manage stress in ways you may not have considered. This is the habit I mentioned at the start of the video, and I want to be direct about it. Most people know that stress is bad for their health, but very few people truly understand how serious the impact is specifically for older adults. When the body stays in a state of prolonged stress, the adrenal glands release a hormone called cortisol. At normal levels, cortisol is actually useful, but when it stays elevated for long periods, it quietly damages the cardiovascular system, impairs memory, weakens the immune system, and can even cause bone thinning. What is notable is that people who live past 90 are not necessarily people who had stress-free lives. They simply respond to stress differently. Many of them have a daily routine to decompress: a morning walk, 10 minutes of quiet sitting, gardening, reading, or simply sitting with a cup of tea and looking out the window. Nothing complicated, but done consistently every day, these small habits build a kind of psychological stability that the body genuinely depends on as we age. Habit number 5. They drink enough water, and this is the simplest thing being overlooked the most. Dehydration in older adults is more common than most people realize. As we age, the sense of thirst becomes less sensitive. That means you could be running low on water without feeling thirsty at all. Mild chronic dehydration has been linked to fatigue, reduced concentration, constipation, higher risk of urinary tract infections, and even falls. In fact, one of the least suspected causes of falls in older adults is dehydration, causing a sudden drop in blood pressure when standing up. People who live long lives often start their day with a glass of water, about 8 ounces, right after waking up, before coffee or breakfast. And they drink water steadily throughout the day without waiting until they feel thirsty. A target of about 6 to 8 glasses of water per day is appropriate for most older adults, unless your doctor has given you specific guidance otherwise. Habit number 6. They stay socially connected, and this matters far more than most people realize. In 2023, the United States Surgeon General released an official report declaring that loneliness is a public health crisis. The damage that loneliness does to the body is equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. That is not a number added for dramatic effect. That is real data. Prolonged loneliness increases chronic inflammation in the body, raises the risk of heart disease, raises the risk of dementia, and measurably shortens lifespan. People who live past 90 almost never live in isolation. They have a community, even a small one, people they see on a regular basis. It might be a church, a walking group, neighbors, or family members. What matters is not the size of the social circle, but the quality of those connections and how consistently they are maintained. If you have been finding yourself less connected to others than you used to be, that is a signal worth paying attention to, just as much as any physical symptom. Habit number 7. They keep learning new things and give their brain something to work with. The brain responds to being used. People who live past 90 and remain mentally sharp tend to be people who never stopped learning and never stopped creating new mental connections. This does not mean going back to school or reading textbooks, learning a new song on the piano, trying a recipe from a different culture, doing the daily crossword puzzle, figuring out how to use a new app. These activities build new neural connections in the brain and help preserve cognitive function longer. A long-term study conducted at Rush University in Chicago followed hundreds of older adults over many years and found that those who regularly engaged in mentally stimulating activities showed significantly slower cognitive decline compared to those who did not. That does not mean you will never forget things, but it can extend the years during which you remain sharp and clear-minded. Habit number 8. They do not skip their regular medical checkups. This is the second habit I flagged at the beginning of this video, and it is more important than most people give it credit for. Many serious conditions in older adults, such as colon cancer, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and certain heart conditions, do not cause obvious symptoms in the early stages. You can feel completely fine while something is quietly developing on the inside. People who live past 90 do not wait until something is clearly wrong before seeing a doctor. They go for checkups as a scheduled part of their routine, the same way you schedule a car service. They get regular blood panels, monitor their blood pressure, and follow age-appropriate cancer screening guidelines. Early detection is not just about easier treatment. In many cases, it is the difference between a manageable situation and a life-threatening one. If you have been putting off a doctor's appointment for months, now is the time to reconsider that. Habit number 9. They avoid smoking and keep alcohol to an absolute minimum. This one may seem obvious, but it is worth addressing directly because it remains one of the most impactful and most controllable factors affecting how long you live. Smoking does not only affect the lungs, it damages blood vessels throughout the entire body, increases the risk of stroke, heart disease, and multiple types of cancer. And here is something many people do not know. Even if you quit smoking at 60, your body can still recover meaningfully. Research shows that the risk of heart disease begins to drop significantly within just 1 to 2 years after quitting. As for alcohol, the important thing to understand is that older adults process alcohol more slowly than when they were younger. The same amount will have a greater impact on the liver, the brain, and your balance. People who live long lives generally drink very little or do not drink at all. There is no level of alcohol consumption that is fully safe for your health, particularly after the age of 60. That is a position that more and more medical professionals are now aligned on. Habit number 10. They have a reason to get up every morning. The final habit on this list is not an exercise, not a food, and not a doctor's appointment. It is the hardest to define but possibly the most deeply influential of all, a sense of purpose. The Japanese have a word for this, ikigai. It means, simply, a reason to be. For some people, it is tending a garden. For others, it is helping a grandchild with schoolwork, joining a local club, volunteering, or simply maintaining a daily routine they genuinely look forward to. Studies that have followed older adults over decades consistently find one thing: people who feel they are still contributing to something, no matter how small, live longer and experience significantly less depression than those who do not. The sense of having value and direction produces real biological effects in the body, not just psychological ones. You do not need to find some grand mission. You just need something, even something very small, that you do each day with genuine focus and genuine enjoyment. Dr. Angelina's final thoughts. After everything we have covered today, I want to leave you with one important thought. You do not need to do all 10 of these things at once. No one does. The people who live past 90 did not wake up one day and decide to overhaul their entire lives. They built one small habit at a time, day by day, over many years. If today you can only take away one thing from this list, start with whatever feels most accessible to you. It might be drinking an extra glass of water in the morning. It might be calling a friend you have not spoken to in a while. It might be scheduling that doctor's appointment you have been putting off. What I want you to understand is this: your body does not stop responding just because you are 60 or 65. It is still reacting to every small decision you make each day. And that means you still have a great deal of influence over the quality of your life in the years ahead. This is not about luck, it is about habits, and habits can be changed, at any age.